We want to be known for a platform which gives rise to or gives chances to new restaurants or new talent, the next rising star. Started business in 2007 or 2008, and we had done, we were doing just about every event. So we did weddings, charity galas, we did Fashion Week 2009 say, abhi tak 2015 we did all the Fashion Pakistan weeks. And then we came to a point where we said, all right, now we're trying to get into creating our own events, because we had the capability to do it. Everything is in-house. So we said, all right, let's try and do something that can give back to the city. So we saw this area which was Frere Hall, which sits right in between, that side of the bridge and this side of the bridge. Whichever side of the bridge you really live, you have an association with the place. You have memories associated with the hall. So it was an immediate sort of a feel-good space to begin with, and that's why it was so important for us to do it today. And to get Frere Hall, the garden, they had the American consulate there.
Yeah.
And for 25 years, no one had ever used the space. No one was allowed to use the space. So we had, there were a lot of issues with permission to try and get Frere Hall, but it had to be Frere Hall. Food was an excuse. It brought together people, whichever background, whatever socioeconomic background they come from. For just a couple of days, people will sit in the grass, they'll stand in lines, they'll do and they'll behave and act normally, like everyone else does all over the world. We went to Sadr, and there was a lady who makes these amazing pakode. She sits literally on the floor with her thing. So that's the people we encourage. We went to from that sort of from there to we went to Okra, and we spoke to Ayaz, and we said, listen, this is what we're doing, and this is why we're doing it. And he said, immediately, we're in. We never ever thought that it would lead to a whole other level of or become a platform for younger businesses or foodpreneurs to sort of start sprouting up all over the place. But that's what started happening. The festival it gave them a platform where they said, all right, I'm actually getting customers on a much larger scale. I'm not getting that order 3 or 4 times a week. They were selling out. Let's be honest, everyone who comes here sells out not once, not twice, multiple times in a day. We've got kids, A-level kids, who have come in over here and said, listen, we want to try it out, see how this works out for us. So yes, there's been a lot more younger people who are experimenting with this and saying, all right, this can be a business now. I see it as a business because I've got the platform, I've tested it out. Why can't this work out there in the real world too, if it works for 3 days? What we've done at the Eat Festival is we designed for a very upscale crowd. And that's what people just don't understand. The general public isn't going to understand WTF. The general public isn't going to understand these fancy words. They're not going to know what you're doing. So we've had to constantly face and challenge ourselves when we said, why won't they understand it? That's one of the reasons why Dolmen sort of works so well, is because it's designed for upscale. Everyone feels comfortable being there. You don't feel out of place. You always feel welcome over there. And that's because they've designed it for everyone and made it accessible for everyone.
Elite class जब वहाँ आता है, उसके बाद जनाब B और C और D whatever जिनका accessible है आने का, सबको जो आते हैं, वो उनको देख के सीख रहे होते हैं. वो खाना खा के जो आम फेस्टिवल्स होते हैं जो बड़ी तादाद में हो रहे होते हैं, उसमें यही होता है कि खाना खाया यहाँ फेंक दिया, कचरा वहाँ फेंक दिया. तो इस इवेंट में नहीं होते. जब वो क्लास उस क्लास के साथ उठती बैठती है और वो देखती है कि जी वो जो उसने खाना खाया, उसने सफाई की और जो कचरा जो है वो प्लेट डस्टबिन में जाकर उसने डाला, तो वो छोटा जो नीचे जो वाले जो लोग हैं वो भी यही कर रहे होते हैं.
This time we have 90 heroes. Those 90 dishes are our heroes that are going to be there, and they're going to be different, and they're not going to be available in the restaurant. They're launching them at Karachi Eat. When we brought in Atif Aslam, it brought in a whole different kind of crowd. It brought in the crowd that said, all right, I have an Atif Aslam concert which is usually 1,000 rupees a ticket at 300 rupees a ticket, and I have great food. So it was a different kind of, you come with a different kind of mindset when it's a concert. So we didn't, learning from that, now we've pushed back. We said, all right, we're only going to bring upcoming bands this year. When it's grown organically, it's just more real. That there's not this corporate face behind this. It's not an activation. Social media has played a big role. We started doing marketing on Facebook. We never had to pay for advertising. We never had to pay for bloggers and influencers. Now it's like, oh, you're not paying, you haven't paid us. Now we never had to pay for posts on Instagram. or newspapers or radio. We never did any of this. It was literally 3 people who got together and decided to do this event and call their friends and families. Why is it a families-only event? What's going to happen to the boys in the event?
Boys कहाँ जाएंगे?
तो अगर अब कराची ईट फेस्टिवल जाना है तो शादी करनी पड़ेगी.
Remember that guy? He was so funny. I called him up. I said, "Please come in as our guest, as our personal guest," because he was such a. It was. You really felt bad for him. He summed up the plight of all the stags out there, and he became sort of their champion or their voice.
उसको आप गेट पे कह दें कि you're not allowed in. क्या आपने सोचा है कैसा लगता है?
And I'm hoping that the Karachi Eat and more festivals like this, when they set up their rules and they set up their ground and they set up the way the entire space looks and feels, people also then learn to behave. And it's true. And that's where architecture again comes in, because people learn to behave in a space that is designed that way. It's called the Eat Pod. All right. And it's an amalgamation of our marketing platform, which is Eat's official. It's on ground, which is Karachi Eat, and it's the Eat Dock, which provides a temporary space for restaurants to come in, trial, and then begin to set up their own businesses. So
are you like an incubator for restaurants?
Absolutely. That's exactly what we are.
Okay.
And we are funding. We will be investing in these restaurants, and we'll just take that concept of Karachi Eat, which is a much smaller scale, to a much bigger level when we start doing this.